What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub. Let's get into this. It has been a rough couple of years for Disney, much due to their own decisions, but of course, some because of world events. Well, we're reaching some sort of focal point, some sort of end game. Rampancy has definitely kicked in. We saw at that last battle of Treon and their investments, the Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutters, trying to get some sort of sanity back into Disney, free it from the woke mind virus that it 100% is infected with. Well, they lost that last one. That's, of course, George Lucas came out. They put out all the stops. They did their propaganda videos. George famously did the quote that, killed all of us inside, where he said that making magic wasn't for amateurs, as he became famous for making magic while being an amateur. Well, everyone's too old and tired, and we're too old for this shit. So we saw a couple months ago, billionaire activist Nelson Peltz, an investor, activist investor doesn't mean activist the way we normally use it. It just means they were, instead of being a passive investor, he was actively working to make change within those investments, and it didn't work out. So Nelson Peltz sold all of his Disney stake for billions, and that brings us to just the other day, Ike Perlmutter, his other partner in crime, so to speak, or in action here. It liquidates his $3 billion stake in the Walt Disney Company. This is called jumping ship. Why? Well, aside from losing and they're older and they don't want to fight for control of the company's failing, despite what they would have you think. Billions lost on Disney Plus, billions lost in their movie division last year in the 2023. The only movie that was profitable was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then everything else got eaten up by that. The toys are down because they shockingly alienated all the men and the boys that buy those fucking toys. It's not bad. And then you go, well, what about the parks? Well, what about the parks? Tiana's Bayou, they replaced Splash Mountain because racism, and they put bayous on mountains because that's where bayous are. And it fails like every hour on the hour. All they did, they took 70 animatronics and condensed them down into 30, and those apparently break all the time, and it's boring. So even when it does work, no one gives a shit. And then they somehow blamed Christians for that, because of course white people, because racism. And then still with the Country Bears, they canceling them because one of them has a moonshine jug, and that's going to offend alcoholics. I have a fucking impulse control problem, but still, I don't drink anymore. I'm not offended by this. And of course, that now breaks down because everything breaks down over there. And this is not even including, which I will, the James O'Keefe undercover shit of the VP Michael Giordano talking about how, you're not going to get ahead of that company if you're white, unless you go to the next video, you find out in the top, then you will. Then it's only a certain tiny hat group and white people, but then there's a large gap there. Or you find out their head of the other head of marketing that's a drag queen and can't wait to have drag queen storytime hour. Or then you go into their leaked communications where it turns out where Disney is funding gay pride flags, gay pride parties, whatever the marches where children are going. And you think, oh, that's progressive. But then you actually see the videos and it's dudes and thongs with their dicks and balls hanging out. And these kids are sitting there looking like, are we supposed to be liking this? It's disgusting in every sense of the word. It's child abuse in every sense of the word. We have long since passed the Matt Shepherds that are, beating on the street just for hugging their boyfriend. We've gone into flaunting it. And this is where you enable the John F. Prince or the John De La Rosas who come in there spouting Bible verses and the fucking archdiocese. All right. When you go that far, you inspire the other side to go too far. And then we have all those same old problems. That's a long way to say that the other day we saw 99% of Disneyland cast from all four unions as Disneyland California Adventure, Downtown Disney, and Disneyland Resorts Hotels vote. Now, they're not striking, but they voted to authorize a strike. So talks are still going on. Some licenses or some contracts have expired. Some are about to expire, but they got the green light to at any moment go, fuck this, throw over the table and go on strike. This has happened less than 5 times in history. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I just want to show here the Teamsters at Disneyland have overwhelmingly voted, and of course this is all of them, but in California, 6 of over 13,000 cast members at Disney are Teamsters. These workers, including attractions, just so you can get an idea of just how widespread this is. Attraction hosts, resort parking and transportation staff, animal care workers are fighting for higher wages, better benefits, fair attendance policies, seniority rights, safer working conditions. Remember all those fights at downtown Disney where you're like, where the fuck is security at? Yeah, there you go. That's what they're suing for. We are fed up, being pushed around by Disney, and are ready to fight back against its unfair labor policies. And the day after President Trump was almost assassinated, over 1,000 people were outside of Disney protesting all of this. It just didn't get covered because we were busy talking about that. And that is where we go to the actual hubbub of all of this. Now that you've been caught up of exactly how we got to this spot, of how on every single level Disney is failing, and why this strike, as said in the title, is the worst fucking possible time, because of all of that, the only thing that they have had throughout history is the parks. So if you take away that, oh boy, you better hope Deadpool and Wolverine make billions and billions and billions, because that's it, son. That's you cannot tank losses of everything combined for very long. So you better hope this strike, if it does happen, is a quick one. And we could just real quickly, how many times it's actually happened in history. 1970, because the Young International Party raided the park and it got shut down. 1984, an actual labor dispute. 2003 hotel worker strike, so an actual strike, and the Black Lives Matter protest of 2020. You remember those. We just talked about those in another video. Yes, the capitulation to the Black Lives Matter or buying large mansion movement shut down the park. So again, not even 5 times has the park shut down. So if it shuts down now, when they're already struggling financially, when they have no movie prospect, because what do they have after this? Cinderella, Snow White with the Zeg. Sorry, Agatha all along. No. So the parks can't shut down, and if they do, god damn, is this not the worst time for it? But this is what happens. So look, we're hearing good things about Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, some people are talking shit, but the people that just wanted to go and have a really good goodbye to the Fox X-Men and the cameos that are more than just cameos and a buddy cop stuff, seems like we're getting that. So that's probably going to make over $1 billion. That's something, but even that is nothing compared to the losses. Even if a week, like a day, is millions for them. So yeah, this strike needs to not happen. So if I were them, I would capitulate to these. And I know Nerd Wars will say, well, they did it to themselves. Look, man, it's a big evil demon corporation. I know people don't like unions, but what are they going to do? Besides, and look, even with a union, they're being taken advantage of. I don't know. Let me know. Suss out the nuance of this in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.